Hi everybody and welcome back to The Upside Dan. Today I'm going to give you my spoiler-free thoughts on the Ryan Reynolds-led Netflix film, The Adam Project. The Adam Project streams on March 11th. Thank you so much Netflix for giving me an early screener. I'm very excited to talk about this film, so let's get into it. A time-traveling pilot teams up with his younger self and his late father to come to terms with his past while saving the future. This film is directed by Shawn Levy and written by Jonathan Tropper, T.S. Nowlin, Jennifer Flackett, and Mark Levin. This film stars Ryan Reynolds, Walker Scobell, Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer Garner, Catherine Keener, and Zoe Saldana. So I was very excited to check the Adam Project out. Free Guy was directed by Shawn Levy and starred Ryan Reynolds as well. I was really interested to see their next project, and honestly, I'm gonna say it did not disappoint at all. I already had watched the movie when I actually read this coming quote. This quote really made me love this movie even more. So Jonathan Tropper said, "What attracted me to this story was the notion of being able to make a contemporary version of a movie I felt wasn't really being made anymore. The Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis type action-adventure family movie like E.T. or The Goonies or Back to the Future." I really liked that quote because I love those old movies. There's a big nostalgia factor there, especially like the Amblin Studios, they make movies like this, and I do think that it succeeded here. It felt like an action-adventure movie like that, like something that Spielberg would have done, or Robert Zemeckis. I love those movies. I'm so entertained by them. They're fun adventures, and this was no different. It's a fun action adventure comedy sci-fi. There's some drama in here. There's emotional moments in this movie, especially a moment between Ryan Reynolds and Jennifer Garner, who plays his character's mother. She doesn't realize that that is Adam all grown up, but they have a really great emotional, heartwarming scene. Themes of how you treat your parents, grief, regret, loss, how you are when you're a kid versus how you are when you're an adult. I think that they did a great job with these themes and messages. A big important thing is the parents, the father-son relationship, the mother-son relationship. They really use the time travel aspect very well without it feeling too tropey for me. The emotion here that's packed in with the action, the adventure, the comedy, the sci-fi just really meant a lot. Honestly, a huge positive for me. Even a surprise. Just this movie in general was kind of a surprise, like Free Guy. I thought it was directed well. Shawn Levy is definitely a talented director. There's just a bunch of talent in front of and behind the camera here. And a lot of work went into making this film, like any film. So much work goes into filmmaking, you don't even know. Like, I was reading the press notes. It was cool to read. It intrigued me, and it made me appreciate this movie even more after reading all of it. Okay, so the performances is another big plus for me. I really enjoyed this whole cast and characters, and I'm a fan of pretty much all of them. Catherine Keener, I wasn't really familiar with, at least not by name, but she did very good. Ryan Reynolds is a good actor, great comedic actor. I love his sarcasm and his sense of wit, and that is present here along with the emotional scenes, which he does very good at. Walker Scobell plays young Adam, and I thought he was terrific as well. There are lines here that just seem like they were right out of Ryan Reynolds' mouth. Ryan Reynolds could say them exactly like that. It felt believable that this kid would grow up to be Ryan Reynolds. I think he's a good actor. Ryan Reynolds did really good. They played well off each other. They had great chemistry. I loved seeing their back and forth. I thought it was funny, charming. He gets to talk to his younger self, tell him what to do, what not to do, what to try harder at. He gets to kind of teach him, almost like a father and son dynamic, except they're the same people. But you also get the father-son dynamic when Mark Ruffalo comes in. Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner do great as their parents. Catherine Keener did a really good job. Zoe Saldana, I'm a big fan of her, and she's really good in this movie when she's in it, but I just didn't feel like she was in it that much. She had great action scenes, she had great character moments, but I just wish she was in it a little more. So the story, the directing, writing, all that stuff is good. The performances were really good. The visual effects, they were a little hit and miss at times. There's little moments that were just really good, like I was reading in the press notes. Visual effects supervisor Alessandro Angaro, he even said we wanted the backyard to look a little unkempt, so they CGI'd patches of unruly grass and dirt to give it a feeling of abandonment. That I didn't even notice, I didn't even think of. That just proves that there's so much that goes into filmmaking. And then the de-aging effects, like so Lola Visual Effects, who is the company responsible for de-aging effects of Michael Douglas and Robert Downey Jr. in the MCU, they were brought in to de-age Catherine Keener in the scenes that take place with a younger Catherine Keener, and I thought that they did a great job. Director of photography Tobias Skilsler, he adhered to what he calls a visual homage to some of our favorite 1980s Amblin films. He used classic framing and uncomplicated lighting in order to draw the audience's attention to the characters at all times, which I think was really important because there's a lot of good character moments here. Like, this is a character film at times. Really emotional, dramatic film. I really appreciated that there was more than I ever expected. I like that he used that, Amblin kind of approach. One of his favorite scenes, and honestly one of my favorite scenes visually, was when young Adam first arrives at the jet crash site in the woods at night. Shawn Levy wanted a magical feel to the scene, so we decided to have embers falling from the top of the trees that were motivated from the wreck. We used dozens of 4-foot and 8-foot Asterio tubes on wires hanging from the trees to mimic the lighting effect of falling embers, which were then replaced with CG in post. The end effect is beautiful. And yeah, the end effect is beautiful. I really enjoyed that scene visually. It was just beautiful to look at. It reminded you of the old sci-fi films like this. Another thing was the Easter eggs. You know, there was a few hidden. There were 2 notable stickers placed on the lid of a storage bin, which I didn't actually notice when watching, but I saw a picture now, and it's of the Hulk named Deadpool. Mark Ruffalo plays the Hulk, and Ryan Reynolds plays Deadpool, so I thought those were really cool Easter eggs. And there was an aviation gin bottle at one point, disguised as like paint thinner or something, but that's Ryan Reynolds' gin company. I enjoyed myself through and through. I was entertained. I had so much fun with this movie. 15 minutes into this movie, I was like, yep, this movie's for me. And I wasn't wrong. Sometimes you may have a movie that you really love at the beginning, and then you're like, never mind. But no, I wasn't wrong. I really enjoyed this film. They had a little something for everybody. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this movie on Netflix. Before I get to my grade, have you seen The Adam Project? Are you going to give it a try on Netflix? Let me know down in that comment section. Please blow up that comment section. But what would I give The Adam Project? The Adam Project gets a 9 out of 10 from me. That's a 9 out of 10 for The Adam Project. If you've liked what you've seen here and you want to see some more, please click around here to see some more content from me. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video with the movie fans in your life. Hit that notification bell, subscribe, and come to the Upside Down.